This is not what they signed up for. It'll be all about the progress of the level 3 framework that I've put up around the walls. Yes, and that would be framework, not framing, you tool. Shortly I'm going to walk around and sort of talk through a couple of areas of the main framework that I've done to date, sort of take you through where I'm at, what I'm thinking, looking ahead, and so on. I'm going to show you clips of a cab ride coming down this time from the escarpment. Now I had a request if I could run my jumbos. Now the funny thing was, when I had this request, I had no idea what a jumbo was. It's not a 747. I model trains. And so I had to quickly go out to Facebook and ask one of those dumb questions. For those that have been watching this show for a while now, you probably gauged that I'm not exactly a trained techo. You've heard me use jargon cross between American, English, the Australian. Anyway, is what it is. So the jumbo is a 442 class. It's going to be a mixed goods train, and I'll show you bits and pieces of that coming down the escarpment. So at the moment, I've built up to this point here, and I'm still working on this transition over to where you'll see the framework for the start of level 3. So what I've done to date is I've done all this framework up to here, right across to the end of the southern end and down to this point. I've yet to put in the framework on level 3 for this area here. As you can see here, the two main lines will be coming up. There will be another set of points here to go off to the branch up on level 3, which will be coming down here and need to be built out. Before I actually do these areas over here, I've actually got to come back to the window frames and pull off some existing wood. I'm going to border it up because basically I'm going to do the back wall and cut it across the window so it's all looking, I guess, in uniform. But anyway, I'll show you that very shortly. And here we are, you'll see the two main lines will come around. Here is a crossover here, and that's basically so once the trains come from the branch line, they can again cross over on the right side of the mains. Now these mains come straight through, and you'll see over here I've got a tunnel portal. Now from this point here, this track will be hidden. The trains will come around, again still hidden, and then reappear here, and that will just give me the illusion, you know, trains are going somewhere and coming back. But what level 3 is all about is obviously the coal loader. So here you can see the branch line. This will be all visible. Everything here will be all visible with the coal train. The coal loader will be here in this area. I've sort of got it here at the moment, but we'll suss that out as I get closer to that build. And obviously it'll come up to this point and then it'll disappear. And then what will happen here, it'll be hidden all the way up to roughly around this point here. Now between here and the main track will be like a very steep hill, so it'll be hidden up until this point, and then you'll be able to see it come out from the hills and then back along this siding, and then eventually it'll then join up with the main line. So here you'll see I've already put the insulating joiners on. From this point on, the track is going to be on its own level 3 DCC bus. It'll be on a new one. That will come all the way up to here, or maybe down to here somewhere. This end over here will have its own bus once again because it's a reverse loop. And then on the branch line over here, it'll run its own DCC bus line as well. Now if I just quickly show you down with my power cabinet, down there you'll see the DCC power outlets for level 3, and basically you'll see the reverse loop first bus and then the second bus for the branch line to power 3 separate districts up on level 3. This is where I'm just experimenting with the transition from the helix over here to the level 3 framework. Now what I'm sort of thinking is, at the moment how it is, this grade here is probably a little bit over 2.5 or maybe even close to 2.8. So what I'm going to do is, and this board's only a mock-up, this is not the actual board. When it meets the framework over here, I'm going to actually cut probably a good 12 mil, probably the same depth as the plywood that I'll be using for this transition piece, just to sort of bring that gradient here down to a more measurable 2.1. And I'll just show you back here, and that's what it's going to look like. So just quickly, when I spoke earlier about level 2, level 3, and then taking off wood and bordering it up. So what I got planned is these pieces here up until that point there, I'm going to take off, and that'll be the same up to that end as well, and then obviously this end as well. I'll remove all this wood. What I'm going to do is then board it up with the 12mm plywood up to that point there, right across in front of the window, and the same on this side. For me, it's just going to add that continuity of the look, make it more uniform. In hindsight, if I could go back, I probably would have designed this shed without these 2 windows here. But anyway, that'll be some work coming up in the future. And I haven't done any clips to sort of show you when I was putting this stuff together, but it is quite basic. I just have these 2 long pieces on each end, and then basically I have these pieces cut out to size. So from that end up to here is about 450mm, and basically each of the ends get glued, nailed twice just to hold it in place, and then I'll put a screw through it just to brace it all together before I put it up. So you can see there, this area here, it's all one piece. I use these L-type brackets just to give me a little bit more rigidity and strength. And I've got one of these ones over here. It's going to be out of sight, and that's why I've got that cross beam here. I didn't go with a cross beam on these ones due to the fact that I'll have scenery and I didn't want it to get in the way. Now again, for this piece here, I applied the same technique with these middle ones. Now in between each of these is about 600mm, and that's consistent with the whole layout. Now at one end here, I don't put this brace. What I do is actually screw it into this cross beam going across here from this framework, and then just screw it into the wall there. And it's quite strong, because obviously I've got plenty of screws holding it on that side. So it does brace it quite well. And again, on each of the cross beams, I put a bracket up top, and I support it again, one down the bottom, the next one up top, and so on. And so when I come down to here, I'm a little bit short getting to the middle, roughly the middle of the shed here, of the train room. So I just make up this other piece here. I brace it with a piece of wood and screw it from behind, both on this side and that side. And also I do a screw through into the metal post here. And that's the same on this side as well. And obviously I put a few more screws in here, just to make it that extra sturdy. So you may be wondering, what the hell's going on here? Why is this not equal to this one going down this side? You know, did I start at this end and then started at that end separately and met in the middle and it didn't quite match up? No. As funny as that sounds, no, I didn't. This was actually done on purpose. Now, to show you why, I'm first going to explain it, but I might have to just show you the plans again. This will be the main height, or maybe just a touch higher, where the tracks will be on the board, and etc, etc, so it'll clear these brackets. Now when we get down to this area, I'll just put the plans up in the corner here. Around this side we've got some hidden track, and obviously up front we've got the coal branch line which will be visible. Now what we're going to do is, as we move around, the hidden main track needs to come down, and so the coal track will rise, and so that will just help me get the scenery over the top of the mainline track. And that's the reason why this dips down. So it just gives me room where I can come down by 40 millimeters, and then the coal line can actually rise up by 40. So I've got enough clearance once I get around to this area here where level 3 over the top of this helix will be. So what you'll find is the main line will be down on the framework, and then the coal line will actually be rising, and it'll be above by about, I don't know, 80 to 100 millimeters, or close to 4 inches for those that work in inches and feet. So when it comes to building out the framework above the helix here, I've sort of been looking at how I was going to attach it, and I've sort of got a few solutions in mind. But I think what I'm going to do is, obviously I'm going to have this same cutout in the middle above here at level 3 height. But what I'll do, I'll put some posts in, and I'll remove these screws, and the post will sit up on this. And what I'll do, I'll get a couple nails, hammer it into the bottom, and then snip them off, sharpen them up, and then that way I'll hammer it in to the top here and glue it. It'll have a very similar framework right here on where the rest will be joined to. And I think the framework, depending, I'll put it together similar to what I've got here on this helix, where I have these joins where it goes through each other, and then basically it'll be quite strong, and then obviously it'll have this framework right here supporting the whole thing. So it's almost going to be like another floating platform. Now those plans may change. I guess it won't be until I start to build it out. I will have another beam like I have here, but up here on level 3 coming across, and then I'll start to build out this framework over the top of the viaduct here. that's where I am at the moment. So I've still got to play around with that transition. I've now got the framework that goes all the way around the wall. And then I need to build out level 3 framework above this first helix.